Welcome to the channel for my Premier League predictions. Game week 15, game week 14 came out with some shocking results. Chelsea got a 5-1 victory over Southampton at the St. Mary's Stadium. Newcastle United at the St. James Park got a 3-3 draw against Liverpool in game week 14. Manchester City also got a 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest, and Arsenal did justice to Manchester United 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium. Going to these games in game week 15, I'm looking out for spot-on predictions. My name is Andy Fine, and my like target for this video is just 100 likes. Like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts and your minds at the comment section. Without wasting much of the time, let's get into the game week 15 predictions. Congratulations to you, Mr. Footballer Lulu, for your 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, so starting with the first game in game week 15 at the Goodison Park is between Everton versus Liverpool. Looking at the standing, Liverpool is now on top of the Premier League table with 36 points out of 14 games. Everton is now 15th on the Premier League table with 14 points out of 14 games. In game week 14, Everton got a 4-0 victory over Wolves. Liverpool also drew 3-3 against Newcastle. Going to this game in game week 15, Everton early kickoff against Liverpool. We all know most times at the early kickoff, the result don't favor the top teams. But well, Liverpool going to this game, I think this result is going to favor Liverpool. Going to this game, I'm predicting Liverpool to get a 2-1 victory over Everton. Liverpool 2, Everton 1. Yeah, so moving on to the next game at the Villa Park is between Aston Villa versus Southampton. In game week 14, Aston Villa got a 3-1 victory over Brentford, and Southampton lost 5-1 against Chelsea. Looking at the league table too, Aston Villa is now 7th on the Premier League table with 22 points out of 14 games. Southampton too is at the bottom 20th position with 5 points out of 14 games. Going to this game in game week 15, Aston Villa hosting Southampton. I'm predicting Aston Villa to get a 3-1 victory over Southampton. Aston Villa 3, Southampton 1. Yes, moving on to the next game at the GTEC Stadium is between Brentford versus Newcastle United. In game week 14, Newcastle United got a 3-3 draw against Liverpool, and Brentford also lost 3-1 against Aston Villa in game week 14. Looking at the league table, both clubs have 20 points, but Brentford is now 9th on the Premier League table. Newcastle United too is now 10th on the Premier League table with goals difference. Going into this game week 15, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My prediction is Brentford 2, Newcastle United 2. But I will not be shocked. Any of these teams can take a win in this game. Yes, moving on to the next game at the Selhurst Park is between Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. Looking at the league table, Manchester City at the moment, they are now 4th on the Premier League table with 26 points out of 14 games, and Crystal Palace too is now 17th on the Premier League table with 12 points out of 14 games. In game 14, Crystal Palace got a 1-0 victory over Ipswich Town, and Manchester City also got a 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. My prediction in game 14, I'm predicting Manchester City to get a 4-1 victory over Crystal Palace. Manchester City 4, Crystal Palace 1. Yeah, so moving on to the Old Trafford is between Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. In game 14, Manchester United lost a 2-0 against Arsenal. Nottingham Forest also lost 3-0 against Manchester City. Looking at the league table, Manchester United at the moment, they are 11th on the Premier League table with 19 points out of 14 games. Nottingham Forest too at the moment, they are 6th on the Premier League table with 22 points out of 14 games. Going to this game in game week 15, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. I'm predicting a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 1. Yeah, so moving on to the next game is a London derby between Fulham versus Arsenal. In game week 14, Arsenal got a 2-0 victory over Man United. As I'm recording this video, Fulham are yet to play the game against Brighton in game 14. And looking at the league table, Arsenal at the moment, they are 3rd on the Premier League table with 8 points out of 14 games. Fulham too, they are 12th on the Premier League table with 19 points out of 13 games. So going into this game in game week 15, I'm predicting a high scoring game. My prediction is Arsenal 4, Fulham 2. Yeah, so moving on to the next game in game week 15 is between Ipswich Town versus AFC Bournemouth. Game week 14, Ipswich Town lost 1-0 against Crystal Palace. And looking at the league table, Ipswich Town, they are 18th on the Premier League table with 9 points out of 14 games. AFC Bournemouth, at the moment, they are 13th on the Premier League table with 18 points out of 13 games. Going into this game in game week 15, I'm predicting AFC Bournemouth to get a narrow victory over Ipswich Town. My prediction is AFC Bournemouth 2, Ipswich Town 1. Yeah, so moving on to the next game in game week 15 is between Leicester City versus Brighton. This game coming on at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City is coming from a 3-1 victory over West Ham United in game week 14. And as I'm recording this video, Brighton are yet to play the game in game week 14. So looking at the league table, Brighton at the moment, they are 5th on the Premier League table with 23 points out of 13 games. And Leicester City too, they are now 16th on the Premier League table with 12 points out of 14 games. Going into this game in game week 15, I'm predicting Brighton to get a 2-1 victory over Leicester City. Brighton to Leicester City 1. Yeah, so moving on to the game of the week in Premier League game week 15 is between Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea. This is a London derby. Chelsea is coming from a 5-1 victory over Southampton in game week 14. As I'm recording this video, Tottenham Hotspur are yet to play the game in game week 14, so I can't give much details about that. Looking at the league table, Chelsea is now 2nd on the Premier League table with 28 points, and Tottenham Hotspur too, they are on the Premier League table with 20 points out of 13 games. Going into this game in game week 15, I'm predicting Chelsea to also get a 2-1 victory over Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Just moving on to the last game, which is a Monday night game, is between West Ham United versus Wolves. Game week 14, West Ham United lost 3-1 against Leicester City, and Wolves also lost 4-0 against Everton in game week 14. Looking at the league table, West Ham United at the moment, they are 14th on the Premier League table with 15 points out of 14 games. And Wolves is also 19th on the Premier League table with 9 points out of 14 games. Going into this game in game week 15, which is a Monday night, I'm predicting West Ham United to get a 2-0 victory over Wolves. West Ham United to Wolves 0. And so these are my predictions for Premier League game week 15. Let me know your minds and your thoughts. My name is Andrew Finer. My like target for this video is just 100. I'll leave a link to my good friend Mr. Footballer Luz, and well, till we meet in another video. Bye bye for now.